You're 7 years old, looking into the eyes of a parent who is quietly unraveling. It could be addiction, it could be rage, or it could be that empty, distant quiet of someone too wounded to truly be present. And without a single word being spoken, something old and instinctive locks into place inside your young mind. If I don't keep everything together, everything will fall apart. This is how a child vanishes, not in body, but in mind. They smile more often. They cry less openly. They learn to scan the atmosphere before they say a word. They become the emotional regulator of the home. They step into adulthood long before their nervous system is equipped for it. And the world applauds them. You're so mature, so dependable, so strong. Yet no one pauses to ask what that strength is costing. This is the unseen grief of those who were forced to grow up too soon. And today, we're stepping deep into the psychology of that child. Because these effects don't fade with time, they mold you. They follow you into love, into work, into how you measure your own value. And if you never understand what happened, you'll spend your adult life reenacting survival strategies that once kept you safe but now quietly drain you. So let's begin with what's actually happening on a developmental level. When children are required to emotionally support adults instead of being supported themselves, psychology calls this parentification. It's when a child becomes the caretaker, the mediator, the emotional anchor, the protector. This isn't just harmful, it fundamentally reshapes the brain. Because when a child is repeatedly responsible for managing emotions, whether their own or someone else's, it creates hypervigilance. You're constantly on alert, always anticipating danger, always walking carefully. You learn that love is conditional. You offer stability, and maybe you'll receive safety. You learn that your needs are risky, while everyone else's needs are urgent. So you fade, not physically, but emotionally. In your place forms a version of you that performs flawlessly. You become the good child, the quiet achiever, the emotional support friend, the one who never needs anything. And you wear that role so convincingly that even you forget it's a disguise. But beneath it all, something aches, something hurts, because the inner child you buried didn't disappear. They're still there, silently asking, why didn't anyone protect me? As you grow older, the patterns evolve. You may become fiercely independent. You reject help, keep people at a distance, or never truly feel secure in love. You may feel strangely empty during joyful moments because happiness feels unfamiliar, undeserved, even unsafe. You may struggle to slow down because productivity became the only language of worth you ever learned. And most painfully, you may not even realize you're still living in survival mode. When chaos is normalized early, the nervous system adopts it as home. Calm feels unsettling. Peace feels suspicious. Love feels like an obligation that must be repaid. This is the psychology of a child who had to grow up too fast. It isn't just sadness, it's complex trauma that reshapes how you see the world and how you see yourself. You might wonder why any child would ever step into that role. The answer is simple and devastating. Children will sacrifice themselves for connection. The decision isn't conscious, it's biological. When safety is missing, a child trades authenticity for attachment. That isn't weakness. That's intelligence. That's survival. But here's the tragedy. What saved you then now confines you. Many of us move through life as highly capable adults, while deeply neglected, inner children remain unseen beneath the surface. We achieve to earn love. We stay quiet to prevent abandonment. We care for everyone else while secretly longing for someone to notice our pain. And that quiet fantasy that someone will finally see past the strength, that you'll be allowed to break down and be held, isn't the need of your adult self. It belongs to the child who never got to be one. Healing doesn't begin with fixing. It begins with witnessing. Because until you acknowledge what happened, you'll keep invalidating yourself with thoughts like, it wasn't that bad. Others had it worse. I turned out fine. But fine is another mask, and you know it. So what becomes of that child? They grow into adults who never feel safe, even in calm spaces. They become partners who struggle to trust gentleness. They become givers who don't know how to receive. They apologize for tears, flinch at praise, confuse exhaustion with accomplishment. This is the price of growing up too fast. Because if your childhood taught you to be strong instead of soft, silent instead of honest, responsible for others while ignoring your own wounds, then what kind of adulthood follows? One where you're perpetually holding your breath, waiting for permission to finally fall apart. But here's the truth: no one is coming to rescue the child you had to bury. You are the one who must return for them. You are the one who must say what no one ever did. You didn't deserve that. You were only a child. You're allowed to rest now. This is the beginning of shadow work. Not fixing, not performing, not covering pain with forced positivity, but turning toward the parts of yourself that were abandoned and saying, I see you, I hear you, I'm not leaving. This is reparenting, and it's painful because it asks you to feel grief you were never allowed to feel. It asks you to sit with anger, sorrow, and unmet needs, to mourn the birthdays that passed unnoticed, to grieve the innocence you lost while protecting those who should have protected you. But that grief isn't weakness, it's evidence of healing. What was frozen is finally beginning to thaw. Now, notice how this survival pattern continues into adult life. Quietly, tragically, often unseen. You may become the therapist in every friendship, while never allowing anyone to truly know you. You may be admired for your independence, while secretly fearing being a burden. You may find yourself in relationships where you do too much, fixing, organizing, explaining, holding everything together, and then wondering why resentment builds inside you. You may struggle to set boundaries because even now, saying no feels like abandonment. These aren't personality flaws, they're survival responses, learned, reinforced, and importantly, reversible. But the shift begins when you stop glorifying your toughness and start respecting your pain. One of the most powerful questions you can ask your inner child is this: what did I need back then that I never received? The answers come softly. I needed someone to tell me it wasn't my fault. I needed someone to notice me. I needed permission to play, to rest, to laugh without fear. And slowly, very slowly, you begin to offer those things to yourself. Not to rewrite the past, but to stop living inside it. This is how you stop searching for parents in your partners. This is how you stop confusing anxiety with intuition. This is how you stop running from the child you were and the person you're becoming. As Carl Jung once said, there is no path to awareness without pain. People will do almost anything to avoid facing their inner world, but shadow work asks something different. It asks you to face all of it: the neglected parts, the ashamed parts, the frightened, angry, unheard parts. Because healing isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about remembering who you were before the world demanded you become someone else. So if you were a child who had to grow up too soon, understand this: your maturity was never the issue. The real wound was that you never had a choice, but now you do. You can choose gentleness. You can choose rest. You can stop carrying everyone else's emotions and finally listen to your own. And no, it won't be instant. There will be days when you feel small again. That's not failure. That's progress. Let that child return. Let them cry. Let them play. Let them finally be witnessed. Because you are not broken. You are integrating. And perhaps for the first time, you're growing the way you always deserved, not through pressure, not through fear, but through honesty. You may not have had a childhood, but you still have a future. And this time, you get to shape it yourself. Don't forget subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications.